It is one of a kind. The spectacle, the conditions, the skill, the luck.
Can he get lucky on the river?
Oh, the end, and he finds it.
You're live. Take a deep breath.
The World Series of Poker main event. The main, for those who know. The main is everything. It means everything. Players give everything because they'd give anything to become a champion. It is here in record-setting numbers where competitors discovered their true selves under the most trying of circumstances, surviving day after day on a journey that will never be forgotten. This is the World Series of Poker main event, final table. Now you know. Record-breaking year, check. Millions on the line, check. Non-stop poker action, oh yeah, check. Welcome to the 2024 World Series of Poker main event final table. Hi everybody, Lon McCarran welcoming you into poker's biggest spectacle. I'm joined by my broadcast partners Norman Chad and Maria Ho as we get set for what is sure to be a thrilling final table. It's stacked. Yeah, it's a great group of 9, each with the same goal, winning that bracelet and becoming world champion. 30-year-old Jordan Griff is not your typical final table chip leader, but the New City, New York native is on the cusp of being the new main event champion. It seems he is living all our dreams. And there's poker pro Brian Kim. He's really stepped up his game of late, and with a second place stack to start tonight, he has to be a favorite. He won't say much at the table, but his play speaks quite loudly. Before we get underway, a look at the leaderboard brought to you by GTO Wizard. Griff and Kim run 1-2, but keep your eyes on Niklas Astedt. The 33-year-old online legend from Sweden seems to make all the right decisions. Nobody would be surprised if he wins it all. It is Christmas in July for the poker world, with the biggest gift of them all about to find a home. A nice round $10 million for first place, $6 million for second. Everyone already a millionaire at the final table. Pay jumps are considerable and will dictate play significantly. We are just moments away from the start. We've gone from 10,112 players to 9 with incredible stories along the way. To get our final table underway, let's sit it down to Caesars Vice President Jack Effel.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the 2024 World Series of Poker main event final table. It's been a historic year with another record-breaking field of 10,112 entries. Every player here is guaranteed at least $1 million as they compete over the next 2 days for a grand prize of $10 million. To kick things off, we're going to be starting with level number 39, 51 minutes, 20 seconds remaining at 800,000, 1.6 million with a 1.6 million big blind ante. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Senior Vice President of Communications and Government Relations, one of the top executives here at Caesars Entertainment, Miss Katie Carano-Miller.
Thank you so much, Jack. It's such an honor to be here. And I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge how special this record-breaking summer at World Series of Poker has been, and welcome everyone here. This summer has been a tremendous summer filled with amazing headlines, including Kristen, which just the other day made records by being having the longest run in the last 12 years in the main event, the main event. For a woman. And so to her and all the other women in this tournament, they continue to make waves and inspire women to play poker, which I just love. World Series of Poker is extremely special to our family here at Caesars Entertainment, and it's clear that this main event and this final table is in great hands with these talented players here today. So, dealer, please shuffle up and deal.
Good luck, guys. Enjoy.
There it is. Cards are in the air shortly here. The 2024 WSOP Main Event final table. Caleb Cushing, Dealer of the Year, getting things started here today. My name is Remko Rinkema. Donnie Peters alongside me for a 1 hour preview here of the main event final table. And there's a look at the tournament summary presented by StormX. 10,112 players, 9 remaining, 10 million up top, 1 million guaranteed for the final 9. And of course, we all still think back of Kristen Foxen, who fell just short of the final table. But now, of course, eyes on the prize. We have 9 players who will try to become the next main event champion. Donnie, the buzz for this has been building for days on end. How you feel about these 9?
We're finally here. I love the final 9 that we have. We got a little bit of a amateur takes on the pros story as well, with Jordan Griff up on top of the leaderboard. Nice international group. Some absolute killers in Niklas, Astedt, and Brian Kim. Great final table here.
Jason Sagle came close before. He finished in the top 25 back in 2004. And the man from Canada is going to be our first player to raise at this final table. If you are catching us right now on YouTube, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have daily highlights, clips, and all that good stuff on the channel, and we're happy to provide you this 1 hour preview of our PokerGO coverage, which, by the way, is commentated on by Lon McCarron, Norman Chad, and Maria Ho.
Check. 2 players.
Kim's going to defend here, and ace, deuce, 8 rolls off the deck. Sagle picks up the nut flush draw.
Yeah, a good texture for him to continue naturally anyway, and he's going to do just that. Kim gets out of the way.
Donnie, do you think that's going to be the MO of Brian Kim, defending lots of hands, playing small pots, looking to maneuver his way into perhaps, being involved in a lot of things?
Yeah, I think we'll see Kim and Astedt get active compared to the other tables, or the other players, I should say.
Here's a look at the main event by the numbers. The biggest stack, 90 bigs. The shortest one, 11 big blinds. So we might even see an all-in here during the first hour of play. 2 bracelet winners still in the hunt, and 6 countries represented, which is really cool to see. An international affair here as we go back to Jason Sagle from Sudbury, Ontario in Canada. Joe Serock brought the red glasses
Raised at 3.2.
back for the final table. And he finds pocket 9s to come in for a raise with. Tamayo folding queens on the final table bubble. Unraised pot. People were shocked about that. Donnie, looking back on that moment, do you think a move like that is worth it?
I think you play the queens. I know Tamayo had his reasons because of ICM, big pay jumps presented this deep in the WSOP main event, of course. Everyone's got their own style, their own approach, right? And I would wonder if that's a sign of things to come for Tamayo specifically, and because we have now had, 48 hours just about between when the final table was reached or when 10-handed play happened and people saw him fold those queens. So these other 8 players, his opponents, they're aware of that fold. So
What are they saying?
is that going to translate to more conservative play for Tamayo here? And will his opponents now attack him because of that?
How I play online poker. This is how I celebrate. So I kind of just do it here too. I do it in non-main event tournaments for the past year at times, depending who the opponent is. I don't know, it's just why wouldn't you have fun if you can? I don't really get why people do the stone face thing and they're trying to stop themselves from having fun. I don't really get.
Hey man, if someone is here to have fun, I am all for it. If Joe Serock makes a run that goes very deep at this final table, we might see tons of cheers, cartwheels, perhaps a backflip or 2.
I can't do this. Can I do this?
No.
Just mark the cards.
Card protector. Dealer's not getting your cards with that on them.
You can't reach anyways. Long reach.
Boris Angelov from Bulgaria, one of the most experienced players at this table. I saw many people on Twitter calling him an absolute crusher. It'd be interesting to see how he'll maneuver, as he is not towards the bigger stacks, but he still has plenty of room to play. Kim, Astedt, Serock, murderous row there from seat 3, 4, and 5. But our chip leader, Mr. Griff, has position on all of them.
Yes, he does. And that's good. I mean, Serock, Astedt, Kim are all very, very good players. Tons of experience, of course. You know, we've talked about that at length for the past few days. But Griff, you know, he's not a professional poker player, right? He's got a 9-to-5 job. He's got the chip lead, which helps, of course. It also helps to have that position, as you mentioned, Remko.
2 players.
Line battle here between two players who have probably clashed about 1,000 times on the internet.
Bet 1.6.
Astedt is going to bet 1.6.
Plan on limping some big hands.
Remko, I know you mentioned Sagle, his deep run before. Tamayo had a 21st place finish back in 2009. Brian Kim, 23rd in 2022. Sagle's 23rd was back in 2004. So 3 of these 9 have finished in the top 23 before in this event.
That's so wild. By the way, crazy stat there on the screen. Back in 1999, $1 million for the winner. Today, 9 millionaires at this table. If you speak Spanish or Portuguese, we also have PokerGO Brazil and PokerGO Spain live right now on YouTube. Action folds around to Brian Kim, picks up pocket 5s.
Would expect a raise here out of the cutoff.
Raise to 3.5.
Donnie, how concerned is Brian Kim about being out of position against 2 very experienced players in Astedt and Serock? Because for him and his playing style and in his level of experience, there might be easier spots to have at this table.
Of course. You know, I think he looks at his rail, gives a little fist pump there. So Brian Kim plays a lot on the Triton scene, which I think Niklas Astedt has dived into more and more lately. So I think he's familiar with Niklas Astedt. So not that it's going to be easy to play out of position against Leaner 900, of course. But he might have some familiarity there. Joe Serock, you know, a U.S. player, largely on the live scene, and plays, you know, online stuff here in the States. Might be a little bit more of an unknown, but I think Brian will approach it and respect the game, you know, and take that route. I think you saw a little bit of it there. Big blind, 1.6 million. He came in for 3.5 million, so slightly larger than Min, you know, which can make it so you can't 3-bet as easy. You can't defend from the big blind as easy, right? So I think that's kind of a sign of how Brian Kim is going to approach it with those people behind him. Not an easy seat, of course.
If you're with us in the chat, please let us know who you're rooting for, or let us know who you think is going to win this thing. Final table is a 2-day affair. If you are watching this right now live, please know that Wednesday night is when this thing will conclude. We're playing down to the final 4 or 3 tonight, depending on how long the night goes, as Astedt raises with ace-5 suited. Donnie, Griff, our chip leader, had the wildest day 8 I can remember. Will he now be incentivized to sit back and let the game come to him just because there's no real incentive for him to get out of line with 9 players remaining?
Yeah, he might be. I mean, I don't really recall Griff being overly active in general. I know he won two massive hands. He had those quads. He had that hand on the first day of day 8 where he doubled up, hit a 2-outer on the river. But other than that, you know, not too active.
The first 8 days, not too much bigger difference than any other poker tournament, at least not for me. One hand at a time, I didn't get affected too much, but when we reached the final 9 yesterday, I felt there was something special just in the emotions of people and the rail and the production and all of the congratulations and nice text I got. Then it became a little bit more real that this is maybe bigger than only a normal final table, let's say.
Niklas Astedt has been at more final tables than all these players combined, ×5 probably. Speaking, of course, about the biggest winner in online tournament history. Was it the number 50 million, Donnie?
48.7 million, I believe.
We'll round it up.
Online. Yeah, rounding up.
Round it up to 50 million.
A couple queens here for Angelov. I wouldn't sleep on Angelov at this final table. The Bulgarian, very, very, very good. Might not be a household name just yet, but of course, when you make this final table the pinnacle of poker, you become a household name pretty quickly, especially if you win the thing.
Boris Angelov comes in for the raise with the first big premium hand we've seen at this final table. Donnie, how much do you think it'll affect the way this final table plays out as Angelov wins his first hand and wants a round of applause and some acknowledgement from his fans? How much do you think it affects play that these guys have had only one day off versus the November 9 we had for so many years in the past?
Yeah, I mean, in a way I kind of feel like you're still just on that adrenaline rush. You know, like, I'm not sure one day is enough for you to just completely, like, get rid of it. I think you're still very much pumped up. So, I don't know. I think it has more to do with probably the lack of time that you have to prepare. You know, you only have 24 hours or so that you can really cram everything into. So if you want to run some simulations, study your opponent, you know, look at the chip stacks and see what might come up early on. You only have so much time to do that. Whereas before, during the November 9 era, you had months, right? You could really, really prepare. I just remember, you know, Martin Jacobson, like, put the videos out, like, he was just prepare, just, like, constantly playing all different scenarios. You don't have that much time anymore.
Kim raising with ace-queen to 3.3. And Tamayo finds pocket sevens on the button. He is one of our shorter stacks.
We saw him fold queens, 10-handed. Is he going to be conservative here with the sevens facing a raise from Brian Kim?
He is. He's going to let it go. Donnie, do you think that's a smart approach?
I think it's his approach. I mean, I think you do have to give some credit to Brian Kim for not getting too out of line. You've mentioned it already a couple times, that murderer's row that he's facing right behind him, Kim. He's got Astedt, he's got Serock, he's got the chip leader Griff. So he's probably not going to be just getting in there with kind of anything. He's going to be closer to top of range, would be my guess.
Oh, two, yeah.
Hey, we seen flops.
Once again, much love to everyone who's hanging out with us in the chat. My name is Remko Rinkema, Donnie Peters alongside me. Just doing a 1 hour preview for you, hoping to get you hyped up. Latinois, have not mentioned his name yet. He was the chip leader in this event for quite a while. That had a rocky day 8, Donnie.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this tournament's a roller coaster. But that's also why you build a big stack and you have that chip lead. So if things become a bit of a rough patch at times, which they often do in tournaments, especially one like this where these guys are playing 10, 11, 12 days or whatever it is, yeah, you got to be able to absorb those hits. A couple of threes here for the chip leader. Haven't seen Jordan Griff get active yet, but hijack certainly going to come in with a raise. Min raise 3.2. Couple of 8s for Gonzalez, and he's the short stack. Gonzalez on about 8 big blinds. Would expect this to go in.
All in.
There it is, the first all-in shove at the 2024 main event final table. Gonzalez putting 14.3 million in the middle. Griff, our initial raiser, with pocket threes. Action will likely fold back to him.
I get a count.
Griff is getting a count here, Donnie, but
14.3.
how's the price here?
I mean, it probably doesn't look that bad. I kind of lean fold. Probably call 5s and 6s maybe, but he's got the chips ready to go.
Yeah, and he has a lot of chips behind, too. He's going to make the call. We have our first all-in showdown. 3s versus 8s. The final remaining Spaniard has his tournament life on the line. Gonzalez needing the 8s to hold up, and you can see the adrenaline coursing through his body.
Call it. How much is it? It was 8 big blinds, 14 million he had. I already put
Got
2
the
bets
Spanish
in.
rail. Sergio Reixa. Team Wizardo. Jason Griff hanging out with his friends on the rail as Gonzalez
Hoping to be flipping.
is going to be accepting his fate here. And there's an 8 on the flop. Top set for the Spaniard. Backdoor straight draw for Griff still available, but things are looking very good here for a quick double up for Gonzalez.
You need a deuce, a 6,
Great
an 8, 7. Lower than 7 to stay in it.
Turn card is the 5 of diamonds. There it is. There it is. Can I get a vamos in the chat, ladies and gentlemen?
Leo Margetts, Sergei Rychek on the rail there.
Our first double up of the final table is a fact. There it is. Look at that passion. Absolutely love to see it. This is exactly what Gonzalez needed, Donnie. He is an accomplished online player, and now with 20 bigs, he's got so much more room to play.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're Tamayo, you hate it because now you're the short stack. Latinois just ahead of Tamayo.
I mean, this stat on the screen right here.
Well, now we know it's going to happen. You put that stat on the screen, it's going to happen, right? That's how this works.
Oh, man. From 9th to 1st has never happened, but if anyone can do it. I mean, Jacobson was pretty close.
Yeah, he was.
No swear, yeah. I like it. I like it that way.
Me too. Raise to 3.2.
If you're enjoying our coverage on YouTube, please smash that like button. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Let's get this thing up to
seen
2,000 likes.
Too many times.
And look at this, Donnie. Gonzalez catching some heat here. Serock raising with 5s. Gonzalez finding pocket jacks. Now on 20 bigs. Can probably just come with a 3-bet.
I think I'm 9 of 9 now. So it is what it is. Yeah. Huh? Well, 22 million.
All in. All in.
Raise all in.
There it is. He goes for the shove. Angelov in the small blind. It's a tasty looking ace-3 of spades, but not for this type of spot. Action back over to Serock, who wastes no time. And look at this, Gonzalez, out of nowhere, now up to 40 million.
Quick climb.
Very quick climb. By the way, Adrian Mateos is doing commentary on our PokerGO Spain YouTube channel right now, so if you speak Spanish and you want insights from the legendary Spanish pro, find that on PokerGO Spain right now.
Pulled a better hand than 3s.
Serock with a bit of a needle there towards Griff.
Yours was easy. His is not. It was the side call, so I hope to see a big ace. Pretty, yeah. Had to do it.
Serock, ace jack suited.
Raise to 3.2.
It's not going to get discouraged by getting shoved on as we see Dominic Neach, Brian Hastings. Earlier I saw Joe McKeon in the background, the 2015 main event champ.
Yeah, he was on Serock's rail, or sorry, on Tamayo's rail, excuse me, for much of the later days, helping him out with things. Pretty good person to have in your corner, huh?
Yeah.
Guy who's been there, done it before in this tournament.
I mean, Joe McKeon, arguably one of the most dominant main event performances we've ever seen.
Yeah. From like what? I mean, I forget exactly when he had the chip lead, but definitely from 2 tables on, just steamrolled everyone.
Yep. Angelov on the button is going to come along with suited diamonds.
Well, we're not making a royal flush on this hand, I'll tell you that much.
Maybe just, you know, put the queen of diamonds out there just to make it seem as though we're pretty close there. King 7-5 rainbow flop. Very nice for Angelov.
Check.
Actually goes check, check. 3 on the turn.
Check.
This is probably the right time for Angelov to start putting some chips in, Donnie.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. You know, those clubs do become present here on the turn, so should your opponent be holding 2 high clubs, you know, don't necessarily just want to give him a free card to drill that backdoor flush. You can also charge some hands, you know, like the 8s, 9s, 10s of the world, stuff like that. It does come with a bet, and Serock quickly gets out of the way. Nice little pick up there. All these pots are massive. I mean, like, even just like, you know, raise call and win it from there, it's like 8 to 10 million. I mean,
first main event cash for Angelov, Griff, Gonzalez, and Latinois. By the way, kind of cool to see that the Bulgarian has perhaps the loudest rail so far. Shout out to Bulgaria.
I've never seen Tamayo wear a hoodie.
I mean, he's wearing the khakis, right?
I mean, I would hope so, right? Over here, too, Jason
Raise to
Sagle.
3.2.
Interesting that Sagle's in the 9 seat, and that was the seat that last year's elder statesman, Jan-Peter Jachmann, had. Is the 9 seat just reserved for the oldest player at the final table? Is that how it is?
Yeah, Donnie.
Just stick him in the 9.
The flop is hard to see from a distance,
Okay.
and in the 9 and the 1 seed, you're closest. By the way, I was speaking to a colleague of ours from Germany, Leonard, who's been covering these events for many, many years. He said this is the worst year for Germany in the main event since 2006.
Well, play better, Germany. What do you want me to say?
Germany was the dominant force on the poker circuit for almost a decade.
For all the success that they have had at the World Series of Poker, and specifically in the main event, they can take a year off. Okay, they can give it to the other countries.
P is Heinz. 2011, of course, they took down the main with the then unknown P.S. Heinz, who has since vanished from the world of poker.
Jason Sagle, you've been so even-keeled throughout the week. You used the word unflappable. With that said, what was it like to walk in to the World Series of Poker main event final table?
I'd say it's the same.
Wow.
Every day is the same. I'm just going to keep playing the same. The only thing that was different this time is I got a day to study. I got to review every hand that's been played on stream. I feel like I'm back in school a little bit. You know, it's the first time I've done that in a long time. So, but hey, I'm going to play the same. I'm going to feel the same. There's not going to be a lot of reactions, and I'm going to try to have fun, and hopefully today's my day.
You told us the other day you're just happy you can still compete. Why do you think you can compete with these other 8?
Well, I just have a lot of wisdom and experience, you know, and it's a lot of people play online now, and it's not the same as playing live. And I haven't, you know, I've done a lot of that for 25 years now, so I'm hoping that it helps me today.
Looking forward to it. Best of luck. Thanks for your time.
Thanks.
Yes.
Thank you, Jeff. Jeff will be on the rail all night long to get some stories for us, as Jason Sagle will be relying heavily on his live experience. Astedt here in the small with A7. Donnie, do you think that he'll treat this like any other final table as far as his play goes, or will a player of his stature still make adjustments?
I think he'll make player-specific adjustments and then maybe some ICM adjustments, just given how big first place prize is. You know, the payouts are obviously huge too. A little bit flat to start, but then obviously they start escalating quite quickly.
Here's a look at No Gamble, No Future Season 5, premiering on Wednesday, July 24th, exclusively on PokerGo. Kristen Foxen is on the show along with the Blez and Phil Hellmuth, so what more can you want as one of the funniest and most exciting cash game shows returns to PokerGo for a 5th season. And I will say, I was involved in Season 5, and it was absolute madness at times. Absolute madness.
I know that first premiere episode has Phil Hellmuth and Nick Airball on it. You mentioned Kristen Foxen. That's the return of Cash of the Titans. Cash of the Titans 2.
Beautiful.
Is back. I think she's going to be playing with Sean Perry, Andrew Roble, and many others. So, fun season. You compare that with High Stakes Poker Season 13 that starts on Monday, July 29th. So, Mondays and Wednesdays, pretty soon, right after the World Series of Poker, you're going to have 2 shows to watch every week on PokerGo.
2 poker nights a week. I don't hate it, Donnie. I don't hate it. I'm excited about it. Donnie, you're good friends with Brian Kim. How did he land on this scarf choice?
So I asked him about it after day 8, I believe, when he made the final table. He said that he hadn't been sleeping well. You know, obviously, you know, you're playing the tournament, you're pumped up on adrenaline, your sleep schedule's out of whack, all that sort of stuff. So he felt his heart rate was kind of going a little crazy. And it's not that like his heart rate was going crazy for a value hand or for a bluff, it was just going crazy. So in order to prevent his opponents for getting any sort of read, he decided to cover it up with a scarf. He's good friends with Arden Cho. He sent her a message because they're both staying at Bellagio. And he said, hey, can you go pick me up a scarf? Arden went down to the shops, got a scarf. Knowing Arden, knowing BK, probably like a $300 scarf. Who the heck knows?
Dude, I was going to go way higher.
Well, I mean, where do you get a scarf at Bellagio for cheap?
I was going to say Hermes, like an Hermes scarf of $2,000.
So that's how he landed on the scarf. And then he didn't want to wear like a hoodie because it's hot up here, you know, under the lights, the stage, all that sort of stuff. So just going to have the scarf cover up his neck.
Raise 3.2.
So far, it is the final table of Mr. Gonzalez. He's having an absolute blast here, picking up Ace King of Hearts, looking to continue his climb up the leaderboard.
A nice looking Ace King suited here.
Are those 20s?
What's that? Yeah.
A little
20s.
higher,
Yeah.
a little higher.
Yeah, are you sure, Andrew?
Higher.
Which one of those are 20? The salmon?
Yeah, this one.
This one is 20.
Oh,
Okay,
actually,
thank
no, they're not 20. I started 40.
Action over to Griff here.
What's your name?
Megan.
What, do you know if there's a break after this level, or?
Yeah. Pretty sure. I would bet a lot on it, but I don't know.
I think so too. After this, it should be.
I think they're going to
Now on Tamayo in the big blind, 9-8 off.
It says there's a break on the top.
I'd be here for 30.
Yeah, that's how long the first break.
Tamayo lets it go. And Gonzalez again with another pickup. And these might seem like small ones, but it all matters when you're trying to win the main event. You need every chip anyway.
Yeah.
I wonder who's got the Big Bird shirts in the background there.
That's a good one, actually. I'm not sure.
I like it.
Andres Gonzalez from Cartagena in Spain, 30 years old. We're in a little bit of a feel-out period here at this final table. Gives me a time to ask you guys in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. Appreciate you all tuning in yet again. Don't forget to smash the like button as well and subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is one of the most exciting days in all of poker, paired, of course, with tomorrow's conclusion of the main event final table. This is a 1-hour preview of the proceedings. Action will continue on PokerGO.
Raise 3.4.
Kim comes in with a raise here. 3.4 million, ace 10 off. Astedt's got a couple of 5s.
Astedt just going to come with the call. Donnie, we do have room for post-flop play, given the stack sizes currently, but as far as I recall, this is one of the more shallow starts to a main event final table.
Yeah, I mean, you do have some play, yeah. I get the same sense as well. I mean, I'd have to look back at all the previous final tables.
Here's the flop, 7, queen, 9, 2 clubs. No clubs for Kim. These spots always interesting. One player whiffs with the ace high. One player has the underpair.
Yeah, tricky spot having to play this out of position against Astedt. Kim does come with a call. Could very well signify that if Astedt decides to bet at this, Kim's just going to give it up. He's got no club. He's got no clubs in his hand. I mean, I guess there's some connectivity with that board, with that 10 in there, but it's just going to be tricky to play this out of position against a player such as Lena 900, I should say, from the online world. He's just really good.
Level of play at this final table will be high. Lots of experienced players. 8 of the 9 call themselves poker professionals, so if that's any indication, it'll give us a sense of how far above the rim we might get later on.
Yeah, 800.
Yeah, and I think some of this early stage of this final table is still kind of the feeling out period. I know these players have played with each other for a little bit of time, but not in this setting, right? Poker's biggest final table. You got the pay jumps at hand, you know, so.
Astedt, Jack 9 of diamonds, has created some separation here early between him and Kim. Serock trending downwards so far at this final table. I know it's not massive shifts and moves, but the chips are definitely moving around. Action on Gonzalez with king-queen off in the small blind, and he's piecing together what looks like a 3-bet here. Donnie, you got to be a brave man to 3-bet Lena 900 out of position.
Yeah, but I like this from Gonzalez, right? I think this hand is a good candidate to 3-bet, especially out of the small blind.
9.6.
You know, I think Astedt, now up over 100 million in chips, can you know, start to widen the range a little bit from, you know, his kind of standard opens. So good spot here for Gonzalez. Sized pretty well too.
In my mind, being a top player is synonymous with finding a way to get creative, but of course this not one of those spots to get out of line for Astedt, as Gonzalez is having the strongest start of any player at this final table.
20 years ago, Greg Raymer won the World Series of Poker Main Event. Also that year, a pretty impressive performance for Jason Sagle, making the top 3 tables. Sagle told us that experience could be utilized towards his advantage today. Could Jonathan Tamayo say the same thing? Back in 2009, Joe Cata's year, Tamayo also made the final 3 tables, then for a career high score, $350,000. We get to 2011, P.S. Hines, 2012, Greg Merson. Those are the years that Brian Kim and Boris Angelov started watching the World Series of Poker Main Event. That got them hooked on the World Series of Poker, and here they are at the World Series of Poker Main Event final table. Merson, by the way, the shortest stack with around 150 players left in 2012. Our chip leader, Jordan Griff, shortest stack entering day 8, and now as the chip lead at the main, another absolutely surreal story. Back in 2015, Joe McKeon won the 2015 main, and McKeon is now on Jonathan Tamayo's rail. Could that be an added benefit for Jonathan Tamayo as he moves forward in this main with Joe McKeon, with a Dominic Nietzsche on his rail? Perhaps. We've seen those rails are very important. Coaching, very important here. In 2018, John Sin won the main event. Now, this was 2 years after making the final 3 tables. 2 years ago, Brian Kim made the final 3 tables. Could a similar story be told? Back in 2022, Espen Jorstad won the World Series of Poker Main Event, the last Scandinavian to do it. We've got a Scandinavian live to win this year as well in the Swede, Niklas Astedt. And of course, the goal for these final 9, to be on the banner where the reigning, defending, undisputed world champion is featured. This past year, it's been all about Daniel Weinman. Who will have that banner spot next year? That is the question.
Wow, terrific walk and talk there from Jeff Platt, showing us around the room, making all the connections between the different deep runs these players have had in the past. It's phenomenal to think back, Donnie, of how intertwined the history of the game is, leading to moments like these.
Of course. This is poker's richest tournament, most storied tournament. And you love to see how it all kind of just ties together over the years, as Jeff laid out so eloquently there.
Serock has raised quite a bit before the flop, has not had any success just yet.
Griff gonna play this one in position.
Making it 8 million to go with Jack 10 of clubs. Big stack aggression being applied here.
Yeah, I like it. Putting a lot of pressure here on Serock.
Serock lets it go again, and he's already down about 13 million here to start this final table. Griff trying to recoup some losses from doubling up Andres Gonzalez earlier. And look at this, only 47,000 in career earnings.
Yeah, Griff, a supply chain manager, lives in Arizona, has a baby on the way. Remko's a baby. Perfect. Run good? Is that how it works?
Exactly, it does. Exactly, it does.
I know he used to live in Northern California, I believe, and then relocated down to Arizona. So, comes down to the heat like us here in Vegas. Couple of 7s here for Astedt.
Raise 3.2.
Astedt's going to continue raising, makes it 3.2 million. Brian Willis in the chat donates $5 and says, can I get paid out in cash? I need to know how many suitcases to bring when I win this thing next year. Absolutely, you can get paid out in cash. $10 million in cash? No problem. Might take a while for them to get all that money situated, but I do remember Julian Gardner way back when he finished in second place, booked an extra seat on the plane home just for the suitcase full of cash.
I'm not doing cash. you can just get it to my bank account as fast as possible, please.
Astedt, career WSOP scores, 46 WSOP online cashes, probably about 20,000 online cashes when you take into account what he's played when he's at home. Look at this. Joe Serock has the little neck massage air purifier thing going on. I don't know what the deal is with that thing, but it looks kind of...
I believe that's a neck fan.
A neck fan.
I didn't see.
Yeah, on one of the
There's a question.
recent final tables, I think when you were out sick,
open.
Calvin Anderson had one on and talked about it. Just because it's so hot and then put it on, I think he even gave it to Jared Blesnick at one point to try out, and Blez was like, wow, I need to get one of these.
Didn't see anything.
You also see some dealers wear
no
it,
one saw anything. If someone could see something, you got to flip it over.
I saw a flush card.
Then if you saw it, then you have to
Player
flip
says they didn't see it,
Yeah.
so I don't know
If you saw it, you have to flip it, I think.
I mean, I saw it.
I see one.
It was a paint card.
Queen of diamonds.
Queen of diamonds exposed. Keep that in mind.
This felt is sticky. We're better off. Like, I know some of you are holding whipping, but you're better off just moving them forward.
Tamayo,
Professional.
ace-4 clubs.
Just yesterday we flipped.
Hasn't gotten involved yet. Probably has tons of fold equity based on his
2 days,
tight
3
play.
days ago, 2 of them, just me.
He's going to get involved here with ace-4 suited.
I'd hate for it to affect the hand.
Action folding around rather quickly. Once again, please hit that like button on today's video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have daily highlights on our channel.
Flash that one too.
Once we reach the end of this level, we'll have a break desk with Ali Najad and Nick Schulman.
Love it.
And that'll be... We'll include that in our free preview. So we'll have Nick and Ali on the break desk for about 15 minutes during the break, and then we'll kick it on over to Lon and Norm with Maria Ho on PokerGo.com. If you are in Las Vegas, by the way, please come on over. Check out the action. We're at the Horseshoe. If you want to keep watching after the hour, go to PokerGo.com. Get yourself a subscription. We have a promo code available for the annual sub, which of course gets you in there to watch all of our new cash game streams as well. New season of High Stakes Poker and No Gamble No Future coming next week. Use promo code WSOP24WIN to subscribe to the annual plan.
Thank you.
Astedt playing a casual here from the small blind. Just going to limp in as 10-5-4 all clubs rolls off.
Check.
Astedt starts this one off with a check.
Check.
Serock checks behind.
8 on the turn gives Astedt a set, but of course, lots of danger out there as far as those clubs go.
Comes with a quick check. Let's see if Serock wants to possibly take a stab at this. Looks like the answer is going to be yes.
At 2.3.
Serock betting 2.3. Astedt does have full house out, so incentive here for him to come along.
Call.
And, you know, Serock can just be on a bluff like he is here. If Serock doesn't have a club and is unpaired, you know, he's going to bet some of those bluffs and just try and win it. King on the river here. Let's see if Serock has another bullet in him.
Check.
Action does go check, check. A set of eights is going to take it down here. Donnie, Serock's slide has been rather painful. It's not as if he's been giving the chips away, but nothing has been going his way so far.
No, it has not.
Here's a look at a way to win yourself into the World Series of Poker main event. All PokerGO.com annual and VIP subscribers are eligible to be in our draw. We're sending 3 people to the main event, so please join now or upgrade. Use promo code WSOP24WIN for $20 off your first year of an annual subscription.
Next drawing date for this will be coming up during the 2024 Poker Masters, so in a couple months' time.
That'd be fun.
Come on.
I'm going to show you one more time.
Seven.
You take no risk, eh?
I'll push him in for you. Just push him here. I'll push him.
Yeah. Sorry.
Players re-educating themselves on how to fold properly without exposing their cards. As Latinois, who is now down to 17 million without any success here at this table so far. He's not entered
in here.
He's not entered the pot yet. He has not entered a single pot yet. Ace jack of diamonds for the Frenchman.
I know it's not fun. It's a bit uneasy when your chips are in the middle in the WSOP main event, but when you got to go, you got to go. Ace jack ain't holding back.
Exactly. Latinois going for it here. And Brian Kim finds ace jack as well. Both players are suited, so.
Notice that Latinois came in for 12 million, still has 4.7 behind. So let's see how Kim approaches this situation now. Kim does still have 3 players to act behind him, Astedt, Serock, and Griff. 2 of those 3 do have him covered. He could just call here, get in on the flop. He could probably just click it.
Looks like he's just going to make the call here. So Brian Kim calling the Latinois raise to 12 million, which, you know, for all intents and purposes, might as well be a shove. No protection yet for Latinois unless someone finds something, and Griff in the big blind with Jack 10 off is going to get out of the way. Now, we do have action pending still. 4.7 million behind here for the Frenchman. Here comes the flop. Ace 9-8. Both players with a pair of aces, and Latinois facing elimination as Brian Kim can hit a club to send him to the rail.
We need a club.
As-valet, tous les deux as-valet suit, mais il a flush draw lui.
Wow. Latinois in a world of hurt here. Brian Kim free rolling to reduce this final table to the final 8.
What a sweat this has got to be.
Oh, man. This is the stuff that makes you feel sick. The French rail is losing their minds. Brian Kim looking for a club. Queen of diamonds on the turn. 20% chance now for Kim to send Latinois to the rail. Show us that river card. It's the 8 of diamonds, and this chop will feel like a double up for Latinois, who stays alive in this event.
Had to sweat it,
Fun sweat.
but he's still in the game.
Was it? Kind of.
I was not sure.
I was happy to see that flop. I mean, after the round, as you can like it.
Latinois must be very happy right now, Donnie.
I mean, yeah, you just dodged the bullet. I know they had the same hand going in, but after that flop, Brian Kim on the free roll, if you're the Frenchman, wipe off that forehead, get rid of that sweat, sit back down and focus.
Angelov. Ace-9 into the muck. Latinois, of course, still looking for a double up here. Coming up on the end of the first hour of play,
20 minutes break.
there is going to be a break. And we're going to have a break desk with Nick Schulman and Ali Najat doing some analysis for us. Also, want to let you know that's also the end of our free preview. So if you want to continue watching after the upcoming break, please do so on PokerGO.com. We'll be here until we get down to the final 3 tonight on PokerGo. Donnie and I will be back tomorrow with a free preview of the final day of the final table. Because yes, this is a 2-day final table, giving the players a little bit of extra rest, because we never know. Might as well take you 10 hours to reach that stage of the event. Here's a quick look at our chip counts presented by GTO Wizards. Jordan Griff has maintained his chip lead, 128 million, but Niklas Astedt has created a little bit of separation. He is now up to 108 million. Latinois Tamayo desperately looking for a double up, so let's see if they can get some help in the upcoming level. We're going to send it on over to Nick Schulman and Aline Najat for some break desk coverage, but not before actually. We should let you know about our VIP plan on PokerGo.com. You can watch Run It Once content on PokerGo. Go find our VIP plan right now on PokerGo.com and train with PokerU.
Well, some nervy moments out there at the World Series of Poker main event final table. Andres Gonzalez able to find the double as one of the short stacks coming in, 8s versus 3s. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first of our break desks here at this World Series of Poker main event final table. Ali Najat alongside Nick Schulman, and of course, a room filled with unlimited and copious amounts of tension as we play the highest stakes game of musical chairs on the planet right now. Not enough seats available. Everybody looking to be the one that plants themselves in that $10 million slot and claims the most coveted of all bracelets here during the summer. Nick, obviously we've been around. We've only soaked up about 50 minutes of play as we drew the curtain on this particular level. The rail bubbling with enthusiasm and some moments. We saw the one for Andres Gonzalez, and then just moments ago, Brian Kim looked like he was going to find our first eliminee, and also a double. Didn't work out.
It didn't, yeah, the stone free roll. And you're right, the rail is wild, this atmosphere is nuts. I mean, it's what you'd expect.
Let's get a peek at the leaderboard. These are the official chip counts here at this particular break. 128.6 million. Jordan Griff, the leader, coming in, still there. Lena, 900, as he's known. Niklas Astedt, 108 million in second. Malo Latinois, 18.7 there, able to fade what could have been a potentially disastrous situation with that ace-jack. And not too much poker to talk about in terms of what we've seen here at this FT, but there was plenty to discuss with respect to that which brought us to this final table. And of course, the very first hand that I'm keying in on is the one that all of social media has been talking about, involving Kristen Foxen. We thought we were going to have our second ever female participant at the World Series of Poker main event in terms of final tables. Barbara Enright, 95 the first. She defended her big blind against a min-raise open by Joe Serock. 13 remaining. Ace-King versus King-Queen. She check-called a healthy 2/3 pot on that board, peeling for Broadway, never in great shape. Then another 2/3 sizing inbound out of Serock, and this is where things kind of took a turn that was unexpected for some, Nick.
This was the moment on the turn when she went all in where I realized she's stolen a lot of pots from me over the years, you know. I've never seen a run in the main have this much buzz. And also, you know, a lot of people saying, how could she, have really never made a bluff like this in their life, you know, respectfully. And then some saying that maybe have, you know. I think I'd be really interested to hear her analysis. It's cool how talked about this hand is and how she went out in such a kind of, you know, such an aggressive move where it's a pretty condensed range spot. She had a lot of interaction, and she'd been playing with Joe, you know. Maybe she thought he was playing a really mergy kind of style where she has a lot of targets for a play like that. Whatever the case may be, it's cool to hear it so talked about. I mean, she's Nick, a legend, you know, and it was unbelievable, that run. You, not unlike Kristen, not unlike her husband Alex, and all of the players that are of that ilk of super high rollers, are so studied, so versed, so familiar with the Silicon overlords, the solvers, which have really grasped the game and navigated us into what seemed to be sort of black and white binary decisions from time to time. Was there any debate, or was there a clear, the computer favors this or doesn't favor this, in some of the discussions you had? Yeah, it was a really compelling hand. I think the standard is to fold or call, you know, but then you have ideas about, well, how is Joe actually playing, or how does she perceive him to be playing? And then it just kind of, it's an endlessly interesting, you know, and all the discourse. I thought Polk made a really good video on it. I watched his analysis. I agreed with a lot of it. Yeah. I mean, it was a really interesting hand from a legendary player who just continues her, you know, it was an amazing run, man. I've never been a part of a run that exciting. I don't know. That one had so much buzz, and it's like, I think a lot of the reason people were disappointed, they just wanted her to keep playing. You know what I mean? Like, of course, watching her do her thing, master of her craft, and obviously the tantalizing prospects of almost 3 decades removed from Barbara Enright's run in '95, being a woman at the final table, something that I think we were all very much looking forward to. And just her, you know, I think a lot of people, especially if you've played with her, just really like her. So, you know, she's cool. Yeah. And, but the influence of this specific tournament, this specific moment, which stands in such stark contrast to literally any other tournament on Earth throughout the course of the calendar year, no matter where on the marble you find yourself, at what buy-in or whatever, it's just different. And we observed that on another occasion as well, to the effect that some questioned whether our card graphics were even right. I'm talking, of course, about Joe Serock. Min raises a chip leader, ace-6 offsuit, and Jonathan Tamayo looks down at 2 queens. He just slides them, Nick. He slid them, you know. This guy's a legend, too. He's played a ton of sit-and-goes. He had ideas about the way this spot may work, or what the ideas are with the pay jumps and all of the factors at play. And he shared those ideas with Dominic Nietzsche, who's on his rail. And you can see Nietzsche, once he's got like, no, it's like, for queens, you have to 3-bet. It happens, you know? And it's like these ICM spots have gotten so, I feel like a lot of times in these spots, players don't want to punt it off by continuing. When they're, for a while, there was a lot of that going on where players were playing too loose. Now, perhaps sometimes they're playing a little bit too tight in moments, but it's tricky. There are spots where you're just kings or aces in theory. that wasn't one of them in theory, but it happens. You know, he was a few pips away.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I, for one, am very compassionate, very sympathetic toward those that kind of find themselves in that moment. There was a $200,000 pay jump. When on earth are we going to experience something like that, truly, from the ICM standpoint? And then just the overlay of being still in the hunt for the $10 million. Things can seize up a little bit. We've seen some caginess already out there for the most part. Some hands just guide themselves toward one another, but I don't think anyone is looking to find their neck on a guillotine early on here. Now, rail, also keeping an eye on things. A lot of the pros that you might think, it's just poker, whatever, also out there. A bit of a roll call. I see Chris Brewer and Lewis Spencer on Brian Kim's rail.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Sagle looks like somebody hit the printing press.
He's got the Big Bird crew. Brewer's got the pink bandana, a couple of beers, I believe, with Lewis Spencer. And the Bulgarians are here in depth.
We're talking about Dimitar Donchev out there on the rail. Who else was out there?
Dimov was out there.
Agnion Dimov, Augie Dimov.
The Bulgarians roll deep.
They really do.
It's a great rail, and I mean, again, you know, it's just the buzz in here is pretty electric.
And we're just getting started. So with that, we will draw a curtain on the first of our break tests. There will be multiple throughout the course of the day as we work our way through 2 days to find a champ. Don't go anywhere. Continuing coverage of this MEFT comes your way after this.
Remember, 6 is a premium hand.
You did think about that.
Wow, 6s.
Hernandez all in with 6s.
6.
Another shorter stack here, Gonzalez with ace-king suited. It is Gonzalez who has covering stack. Hernandez at risk.
My favorite hand. My favorite spot, 6s.
Sixes.
Andres Gonzalez awaiting. No ace, no king.
Gonzalez in for almost his entire short stack.
Venga, nada. Close. Yes, cabrón. Un 10. Me gusta un 10, cabrón. Me gusta un 10.
One card to
Me gusta un
come.
10, cabrón. Me gusta un 10,
Hernandez
cabrón.
hanging on with the 6s. Oh, wow, and he got counterfeited on the finale, Norman. You have to look at that rule.
I told you, nothing uglier than when you get counterfeited, and here for his main event life on day 8.
Wow.
You want 3 pair to beat 2 pair, huh?
When I used to play in Turkey and Greece, 3 pair beat 2 pair.
Gerardo Hernandez out in 18th place, the first victim of day 8. Will collect 350 grand, but that was a heartbreaking way to look for the exit.
11.4, no?
Thank you,
11.4. 11.4.
Yeah. You got him covered, he busted.
Okay, for 200, yeah, I got it.
One verification. No, it's verified.
Maybe we check with one.
He was.
Can't play hands.
You know, those 2 outers hit different on day 8 of the main.
Oh, he cut off the interview for 6 deuce?
Potential 100,000. No, we hit the thing.
Oh, look at what we got on the rail for Brian.
Oh,
Jesse
camouflage
Caps,
box.
yeah.
I mean, directly on
Bryant from Greer's Ferry, Arkansas, Norman, which you know is not far from Whistling Springs, but Puddin Ridge is a little further away.
And the traffic in Puddin Ridge really comes back up late afternoon.
We're not talking expected value, we're talking real.
You don't really notice all the camouflage Jeeps, though, on the road. By the way, Heather Alcorn also lived for a long time in Ozark, Arkansas, not far from Jesse. She is on his rail, rooting him on.
Interesting that Bryant is going almost 3x off of his stack size. I think that that's something to take note of. Most players probably would just be minning off of his stack. But Otero here picks up a huge hand.
Guillermo Otero, originally from Spain, living in Manchester, UK.
That's what I mean. If I could influence. Oh, because they're going to take the guy in front of me. If I play the hand fast, they might take me.
All in? Hey, it's all in. All in call.
All in call.
Brian decides to raise call off here with Queen Jack offsuit. And luckily he's live.
But not ahead.
Now the 45-year-old, a 2-to-1 underdog here for his main event life.
Otero
One more time.
looking to extend his birthday celebration from yesterday here with a knockout.
Corazón, corazón.
And that is a bad sight for the 5-time circuit ring winner.
Otero flopping top pair, goes back to the rail, waiting for the accolades. Bryant looking for some sort of miracle here.
It's not there.
And it's not there indeed. He is drawing dead and eliminated. 17th place, Jesse Bryant, self-employed, loves his life in Arkansas outdoors. 5 circuit rings will not work its way to a bracelet.
45-year-old former Army reservist with a nice payday, almost doubling his career earnings here.
A very nice payday. These crowds will just increase as word filters amongst the friends of the remaining players that they've got somebody still playing in the biggest game in town.
Raised to 1.6.
Serock with the raise, won an online bracelet last year. Astedt has won a couple of circuit rings online.
Talk about storylines here with 2 tables left in the main. You're definitely seeing a lot of people online root for Astedt because his reputation precedes him. Everybody knows him to be an online wizard, just a legend.
Yoga with another ace, suited on the button. Not this time.
Astedt finding ace-9 offsuit and deciding to put some pressure on this open from Serock. Ace-10 suited is a pretty hand, and a lot of times players aren't going to be folding that to a 3-bet if, especially I think against somebody that is very capable, right? You know that they're going to be a little bit lighter.
Serock checks top 2 over to the pre-flop raiser. Astedt remained fully aggressive yesterday and into the night.
Bet 3,500,000.
Serock out of position, but in great position in this hand on a dangerous board. Ace is up.
Listen, when I see that the sunglasses go on, I know he's going to continue with this hand in some way, shape, or form. So Astedt's just waiting to see.
Call 3.5. Heads up to the turn.
Just a call. 19 million in the middle. So you see Astedt only drawing to a chop pot at best.
Two-tone board. You know, King Jack suited certainly going to be a possibility for a hand that Serock might raise and call a 3-bet with. Ace Queen suited could be in there. Ace 10 suited, as we can see. Astedt has showdown value.
Free river card. It's all Serock.
Serock, good friends with former Player of the Year Jeff Madsen. About 10 years ago, he left a bag in Madsen's garage. Forgot about it. Thankfully, 18 months later, he left the bag in that garage. It had $30,000 in it.
And a melted chocolate bar.
A melted chocolate bar. How long did that take to melt?
At 13 million.
The future is gold.